I write every day. Come rain or shine, hell or high water, I write. I write on weekdays and at weekends, on high days and holidays. I might not write on Christmas Day, as to do so would risk incurring the wrath of my wife, but I might. I might scrawl a few words into my phone or into the field notes notebook that I always have about my person. I write because it's my job, of course, but I also write as a form of self expression and therapy. I write to process my thoughts and to make sense of the world, although I find that increasingly difficult these days. If someone put a gun to my head and forced me to choose between writing and tea, I would choose writing, and I love tea. For me, writing is not a career choice, it's an inescapable vocation. I'm a writer, and writers must write. I had a long chat last week with a man I didn't know. He'd commented on one of my YouTube videos in which I was decrying the parlous and thankless state of the UK demolition and construction industry. We exchanged telephone numbers and ended up talking for the best part of an hour. Turns out he joined the construction industry at 16 before walking away entirely just before he turned 50. We'll get on to the sheer scale of the disillusionment that forces a 30-year industry veteran to throw in the towel in just a moment. But first, I'd like to look at all that man was leaving behind. Over the course of about 35 years and assuming pretty consistent levels of employment, he would have racked up almost 8,000 days on site, or roughly 80,000 hours. Assuming he was working on sites roughly 10 miles away from his home for the duration of his career, he would have driven more than 150,000 miles just to work and back. Truth be told, given the nomadic nature of this business, the chances are that figure was way, way higher than that. Imagine all the birthdays he missed because he was working away. Imagine all the missed anniversaries, the kids' sports days, the parent-teacher evenings, the social gatherings with friends and family, all missed because of his dedication to work. He would have endured countless early starts and late nights, stayed in digs of variable and questionable quality. He would have worked in the blazing sun, the pouring rain, and the freezing snow. He would have enjoyed many highs and endured the lowest of lows. He would have seen colleagues, bosses, machines, companies, suppliers, and market trends come and go. He would have owned countless pairs of site boots, lost multitudes of high-vis vests, and mislaid more pairs of gloves than he could possibly count. He would have sat through hundreds of hours of inductions and toolbox talks, carried Lord alone knows how many competence cards, and been required to prove himself over and over and over again. He would have had good bosses and awful bosses, worked alongside drunks, junkies, and borderline sexual predators, and certifiable lunatics. Along the way, he will have forged bonds with some people that will be friends for life. In all likelihood, he will have worked when he was sick, soldiered on when he was injured, and picked himself up each time he was laid off with minimal warning. Each time, he came back for more, until he didn't. Until the day his mind, his body, and his heart eventually said, enough. He said there was no single straw that broke the camel's back, that it was a cumulative grinding down rather than a single snap that forced him to walk away. But walk away he did. At 48 years of age, he decided to retrain as an exhaust fitter. What must it take for a man to take off his hard hat and his site boots for the final time? To take all that he's learned, endured, suffered, and experienced, and to just place it all in a storage box and lock it away forever? What has the industry done to make a man simply walk away from all that he's known for almost 40 years? And how brave do you have to be to forge an entirely new career on the eve of your 50th birthday? We talk endlessly about the need to attract new and ideally young people into the industry. Yet all of that is for nothing if we can't retain the more experienced workers we already have. I asked the man I was speaking to if he would ever consider returning to the sector. Without hesitation, he said an unequivocal no. that he would never return to an industry that had treated him so poorly. However, the fact that even now he's watching YouTube videos about demolition and construction proves one thing. You can force the man out of the industry, but you can't force the industry out of the man.